He once said, quote, "Prediction is awfully hard to do, especially if it's about the future." Well, today, I'm going to predict the future. I've interviewed over 300 of the world's top scientists to give you the best prediction of the future. Now, sometimes we physicists can make a mistake. When we physicists created the internet, one physicist made a prediction. He predicted that the internet would become a forum of high culture, high art, and high society. Today we know that 5% of the internet is pornography. But that's because teenage boys log on to the internet. Just wait until the grandmas and grandpas get on the internet. Then 50% of the internet will be pornography. Before I begin, let me tell you a short story of what happened over 200 years ago in Paris, France. There was the Great French Revolution. Now one day, there were 3 gentlemen about to have their heads cut off at the guillotine. There was a priest, a lawyer, and a theoretical physicist, just like me, about to have our heads chopped off. Well, they asked the priest, "Do you have any last words before we cut your neck?" And the priest said, "Yes." He said, God from above shall set me free." Well, all eyes were on the blade. They raised the blade. The blade came down, swoosh, and then stopped right before it hit the neck of the priest. Well, the mob had never seen this before. And so the mob said, "Let him go. God has spoken today." And now let's see about the lawyer. Well, they put the lawyer's head on the chopping block, and they asked him, "Do you have any last words before we cut your head off?" And the lawyer said, "Yes." He said, "The spirit of justice shall set me free." Well, they raised the blade. The blade came down, swoosh, and stopped right before it hit the neck of the lawyer. Well, this time, there was dancing in the streets of Paris. People were saying, God has spoken. Justice has spoken today. And now let's see about the physicist. Well, they put the physicist's head on the chopping block. And they asked him, "Do you have any last words before we cut your head off?" And the physicist said, Yeah, I got some last words. And he said, I don't know too much about God, and I know even less about the law, but I do know one thing. If you look up, you'll see that the rope is stuck on the pulley. And then he said, if you remove the rope, the blade should come down real good. Big mistake. Big mistake. The rope came down, the blade came down, and the poor physicist's head came down. And the lesson is, sometimes we physicists have to know when to keep our mouths shut. But nonetheless, let me now